right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co-host Jake Ellenbogen, and we are coming to you live this evening to preview the NFC Championship game that the Rams are going to be playing in this Sunday against the Seattle Seahawks in Seattle. And Jake, I said this last episode when we were recapping the Chicago game. I know that the obvious end goal of every season is the Super Bowl, but it's still a really big deal to be in the NFC Championship game, and it's going to be a battle. And so I don't know what saying I'm looking for here, but basically don't overlook this game and just start thinking about the Super Bowl. This is a massive game against a team that we have been in two battles with this season. I mean, two very, very close, very intense games with a division rival. And we are facing a division rival in the NFC Championship, which the last time we were in the NFC Championship, we did as well when we played the 49ers. So this is not an unfamiliar position for the Rams per se, but this time we will be on the road in Seattle, which is a very difficult environment to go play in general. And we know in a championship situation like Sunday will be, it's going to be the highest stakes that you could think of. So Jake, going into this game, there's so much talk online, right? Again, like I mentioned, like it's already a division rival. There's already a rivalry there. It's already intense. There's already smack talk going on. But these two teams seem to have a lot of parallels, right? When you kind of look at the trajectory that Seattle's had this season and kind of the makeup of their team, and you look at the makeup of the Rams team, right? You look at like Puka Nacua and JSN. There's a lot of comparisons that people have made all season between these two teams. And I know that you're in agreement with me that these two teams really have been the best in the NFC. I think we are seeing an NFC championship that is truly giving us the two best teams in the conference, which you don't always see, right? You know, a lot of playoffs, anything can happen. Sometimes the best teams on paper don't actually make it there. But I think that we are seeing this happen in the case of the Rams versus the Seahawks. So Jake, looking at this matchup, and we're going to preview this and we're going to kind of talk about a few things, and we already kind of recapped stuff that went down in the Chicago game, but some of that's going to be important, I think, when we talk about what we think is going to happen this Sunday and what the Rams need to clean up, obviously. But what's your overall impression of this game going into it?
My impression is that these are the two best teams. This is the de facto Super Bowl. That is not to overlook any team in the AFC, but these are the two best teams, and this feels kind of like the Rams-Eagles last year. I think those might have been the two best teams at the end of the season. And this is a Rams team that, yeah, they won the Super Bowl, but then they had a really, really tough next following year with all the injuries. And so they're trying to, in one coaching, regime, coach and general manager, in 9 years, have three different Super Bowl runs with three different teams that are vastly different than the next. Jared Goff's team, Sean McVay's second year, sophomore year in the league, everything that he learned from, falling to the veteran Falcons team that was just in the Super Bowl, losing at home, everything he learned, you move on, you go and lose the Super Bowl to Bill Belichick. Then you have kind of that down year in 2019. Then 2020, it looks like Jared Goff's kind of fallen off, but you have a really, really good defense. You fall short, you go out, you get Matthew Stafford, you win the Super Bowl that year. Everything you learned helps you there. Then you have the 2022 season, like I mentioned, you fall off. 2023, you start coming back. 2024, you're practically there. Now 2025, you are there. This team has no excuse not to win the Super Bowl. They've had Seattle's number. Matthew Stafford has 10 touchdowns to 1 interception against Mike McDonald defenses. He's 2-2 in those games. He's 2-1 against Seattle since McDonald has been the head coach. And, the Rams have really, Seattle fans, they'll word it in a way of like, well, we outplayed you the first time and you might have outplayed us the second time. And, maybe that's true, but the way I look at the first game is the Rams literally led the entire game. And it wasn't that you just missed a field goal and, the Rams got lucky. The Rams forced you to attempt a 61-yard field goal because as bad as the special teams has been this year, Ethan Evans made the greatest punt we've ever seen. And that was them forcing you. You ran out of time, and it forced you to attempt a 61-yard field goal, which is a very low, percentage opportunity. And you missed it. So you didn't lead at any point in that game. And then the second game in your backyard on a short week, because I keep hearing how Seattle was on a short week. The Rams had to travel after playing a Dan Campbell defense. That team is different. That Lions team, they make you earn it. And that was a 41-34 physical football game that went back and forth. And then on a short week, they had to play against Seattle in the most important game of the year. And they had injuries to Quentin Lake in the previous game. And they had injuries to Kevin Dotson in the middle of the game. So they had to, filter in a new right guard. And oh, by the way, at the end of that Lions game, your number one red zone threat led the league in touchdowns, even though he missed 3 games. And that is, Devontae Adams, he goes down with a hamstring injury. So there were a lot of different instances where going into that game, the Rams were at a disadvantage. And they found a way to really kind of take over the game. And all of a sudden, it's 30-14 with 8 minutes to go. And they blew it. And you know what? That was probably the best thing that could have happened to the Rams, because it reminded them that, you know what? We have a great team, and we can't let this thing come to pass. And unfortunately, Sean McVay, as tough as it might have been to fire somebody within your staff, he knew it was the move that had to be made. If they win that game, I don't think they fire Chase Blackburn, and I don't think the Rams are in the playoffs right now. I think special teams would have killed them by now. So that's how I look at that. I also look at it like, I'm sure you've seen it. Like I said, both teams, 2 best teams in the league. But the way people are talking about Seattle, it's like, let's take a beat for a sec. Seattle has not been in a close game since they played the Rams, a game that they had to scratch and claw their way to win. Give them credit. They won the game, but they had to scratch and claw their way to win. They played against a Carolina Panthers team that I know they gave the Rams problems, but, it's funny. Chris Sims brought this up on his show. Like, these guys, the Falcons, the Panthers, they know Sean McVay. Ejiro Evero was on his coaching staff. You had Raheem Morris on his coaching staff. There's a lot of familiarity there. It just could have been a bad matchup. But Seattle only played the Rams, and then they played Carolina, the 49ers, and the 49ers. That's what they've played recently. So they're blowing up on these teams, and they had the 41-6, domination. But at the same time, the 49ers are really banged up right now, and they were just a better team regardless. Whereas the Rams, they didn't get a chance to play in their environment. They had to go on the road and play in, Soldier Field, and there was a lot more snow than you and I had imagined there was going to be. And they had to really earn that game. And they also had to really earn the Panthers game, a team that already beat them, a team that already saw them, had familiarity with them. They found a way to win 41 seconds remaining. I think this is going to bode well for the Rams. I really do. You have a team that, yes, they're dominant right now. Give Seattle credit. They look great. But at the same time, Seattle has not been in these crunch time games the way the Rams have been the last 2 weeks. Seattle was off, and then they played the 49ers. And people are talking about how that's it's a benefit because of, okay, they were able to rest their starters for most of the game. And maybe that's fair. But I think, Bruce Arians said this on the Pat McAfee show. Once you get those 2 wins under your belt and you're on the road, it's kind of like you're in the flow of things. Like, it's not going to bother you now. It didn't bother you before. It's not going to all of a sudden bother you now. The road is the road. It is what it is. And there's a reason why 5 teams have gone on to do what the Rams are trying to do right now. Win 3 straight road games and get to a Super Bowl. Okay. And I understand Seattle deserves a lot of credit, but one thing's for sure. Seattle might have the better defense and the better special teams. They don't have the better offense. And they're missing Zach Charbonnet. And if they can't run the football because they can't diversify their rushing attack, because we keep talking about Kyron Williams kind of sets it up, and then you put in Blake Corum, and then you can get those explosives because Kyron's kind of weakening and wearing down a defense. Well, Zach Charbonnet is their big back that's going to weaken the defense. And then you put in Kenneth Walker, and then he kind of hits you at the home runs. But if you only have Kenneth Walker, How is that going to look? So I just think, Alexis, kind of going into this game, I think the Rams have the edge right now because they've been there, done that. They've not only Super Bowl champion quarterback and head coaching combination, but they've been on the road. That's all they know. I mean, a lot of these players, like you look at most of this team from last year, they never once played at home in the playoffs. They played in Arizona because of the wildfires. So this is all this team knows, and I think they're ready for it. They're the road warriors, and I think they'll get it done.
Yeah, I agree with you. And I think the question, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, like when I'm looking at this matchup between the Seahawks and the Rams, I think the question really is the Rams offense. Because we know that our defense can step up in big moments. I mean, we saw it in Carolina. We saw it in Chicago. I mean, talk about Chicago, right? We did a whole episode on it. We won't go break down that game again. But I mean, look at what happened in Chicago. We know that our defense is capable, with their flaws and all, of holding it down when they need to do that. We have, with our offense, not always seen that. We've seen in a lot of these big games this season, and you talk about, and again, like when you say, like, there's a reason that the Rams weren't the number one seed. There was losses that we had this season that the offense just could not seem to figure it out, where they were turning the ball over. They couldn't score in the red zone, right? Like there's been an inconsistency there. And so to me, the question is not, can our defense stop Sam Darnold and JSN and AJ Barner and Kenneth Walker? Yes. I believe that they can. That we've seen that, right? We've seen that they've successfully, it's been tight, right? It's not like they've, absolutely manhandled them. Although Sam Darnold against the Rams defense, you could argue at times, but they've been able to at least get the job done defensively against Seattle. We have not seen that from our offense. And so the question for me going into this game is, are we going to get the lights out offense where Stafford is firing on all cylinders and Puka Nacua is putting up 200 yards, that game. And I know that Seattle secondary was injured that game as well, but, is Devontae Adams going to be hot? Are they going to actually be utilizing the run game, right? Like Seattle has a better run defense now as of late than I think they did when the Rams last played them. But again, you had another game where Kyren Williams had like a 70-yard first half or something, and then the Rams completely went away from the run game in the second half. Are we going to see that? Are we going to see our tight ends, in 13 personnel and get utilized a lot? Or is this going to be another game where the game plan doesn't feature our tight ends? I think, to me, that's the question. To me, it's, can the Rams return to the stuff that they had so much success with in the middle of the season when they were hot and it felt like nobody could stop the Rams? Or are they going to overthink it, overcomplicate things? Is Stafford going to look shaken, like he did a little bit towards the end of the season and at some points during the Carolina and Chicago games? Is that the offense that we're going to see? Because I'll be honest, if we see that offense, I don't think they beat Seattle. But where I'm coming from is I think we do see it, because I think that we know Seattle. I think that they know what needs to be done. And I think that in games like this, you have to go back to what works for you. We know this team. This cannot be a game that Sean McVay goes out there and doesn't run the ball, or is calling again these low percentage plays in the red zone, or doing any of that stuff that we saw start to happen at the later half of the season, in the regular season, and we started to lose games. So to me, Jake, that's the question, and that's why I want to talk about the offense first. Because when I'm looking at the Seattle defense, they are good. They're good. They're one of the better defenses in the league. To some people, you might say that they're the best defense in the league. They've had a very good year. We've had success against them in some of the games that, we obviously play them twice. I feel like, Jake, the run game, because a lot of people disagree with me on this, I think the run game is going to be massive against Seattle on Sunday. A lot of people are saying, oh, they're going to stifle the run. You can't run on Seattle. And I disagree, because we did. Now, the problem with that game that we played against Seattle is we ran the ball really efficiently in that first half, that second game, and then we abandoned the run in the second half, And then we tried to pick the run back up again, and then it wasn't working. And I think it's because it's like run games, you oftentimes need rhythm. It's like you can't run the ball and then just not run the ball at all and then run 3 or 4 run plays. You know what I mean? If that makes sense. Like you have to have a consistent game plan. And so Jake, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think that it's true that we can go into Seattle on Sunday and gain some traction on the ground? I'm not saying that we're gonna like what run did Kyron have that first time we played Seattle? Like that 32-yard run or whatever it was. I'm not
On a
saying
fourth and one.
yeah, on 4th and 1. I'm not saying that we're going to do that every time, but do you think that we can go in there against Seattle and at least manage to get those 4-yard, 5-yard gains per run? Or do you think that they're going to be looking to shut that down this time and we're not going to be able to rely on the run game at all?
I think it's a great question. I think they are going to be able to rely on the run game. My one concern is, okay, so Seattle, you go in your 13 personnel, 12 personnel, 11 personnel, it doesn't matter. They're going to stay in that nickel. They're going to let Eamon Warrior stay out there. They're not going to go into base. And so that's the interesting thing there. But one thing I've noticed watching this team is I feel like they're really missing Tutu Atwell. And I really noticed it this last week, the way the Bears were just playing man coverage. And they're just like, they're right up in their grill, like, we don't care. The Rams don't have an explosive, fast, like, weapon for defenses to kind of play back on. And so it allows them to cheat. And I just feel like that, and again, they have Tutu Atwell, but he was inactive. Like the Bears were just playing up. They don't have any reason to play back because it's like they're not scared of anybody that's going to beat them over the top with speed. Puka Nacua is going to beat you if he gets separation or no separation. That's just the way he plays, right? Devontae Adams, kind of the same deal, though he's dropped a lot of passes this year. But they don't have a speedy guy like the Seahawks have with Shaheed that they rely on. I mean, Tutu Atwell is that guy, but they just have not given him those opportunities. I would really like to see him utilized in that way because then all of a sudden you have the safeties playing back. Guess what? It's now easier to run the football, right? You know, if you have the guys playing back, it's easier to run the football. Tutu can be the clear out, but you could also use him on a deep ball because Stafford has the deep ball accuracy to hit him. But I think that's the kind of the underrated, not really talked about thing is that the Rams don't really rely on speed. And I think they really should because defenses are starting to cheat them over the, up close and personal. And, I think that's the thing right now with the Rams is that they're really like, they're not relying on one guy. I mean, they're using, all sorts of guys. I mean, and they're not in 11 all the time, but they were in 11 personnel 90% of the Bears game, which was shocking. So I'm hoping that we do see more Tutu Atwell this week. I think for sure he can help them out and allow some easier things to happen underneath for Stafford. Or you just have like I said, you just have a guy who's going to run by everybody and get out, deep down the field. So that's a big thing for me right now. As far as the run, regardless if you run out of 13 or 11 or 12, whatever, you should be able to run against this defense mainly because of who is back. Like I want to point back to the Rams had a hard time running against this defense the last time. And I remember Leonard Williams making the comment that we got off to a rough start because, we really just wanted to stop the run. We wanted to take that away. And then when we took that away, we felt like we were kind of in the driver's seat. Now you weren't in the driver's seat of anything. You gave up almost 600 yards of offense, but you stopped the run. They sold out to stop the run. Stafford destroyed him with the pass. He has not even been hit in the last 2 games or sacked. So that's something to keep in mind there. But Dotson didn't play most of that game. He got hurt on like the first drive of the game. And Kevin Dotson, when he is in, they are astronomically better at running the football than when he's not. And oh, by the way, like as much as I love Rob Havenstein, Warren McClendon Jr. has been the better player. So Rob Havenstein played week 11 with Dotson, and Warren McClendon Jr. played with Dotson for a drive against Seattle. So that's the thing that I'm interested there. Also, you might not have realized this, but Tyler Higbee didn't play week 16. And I think he also can really help out this 13 personnel. And I don't for a second believe that they didn't use 13 personnel last week for any other reason than they wanted to hold on to it this week. I think that partially they knew the best way to attack the Bears was in that 11, and they just didn't execute in a lot of those, respects. And I just think Sean McVay called poor, he had a poor game plan, I thought. But 13 personnel is going to be back this week, and they're going to force Seattle to stop it. And Seattle absolutely can. They're not going to look like a deer in the headlights. They can absolutely match up with it. But then the Rams can go back to 11. Then the Rams can go back to 13. They can go back and forth. And I just don't think that's really talked about nearly enough. So there's a lot of ways the Rams are healthier. Quentin Lake is going to help them out in the run game. They were so good, I thought, against the Bears because that was not an easy run game to stop. I mean, they have a really good run blocking, offensive line all across the board. That's a really good offensive line, not talked about nearly enough. But you have Kyle Monangai, who's been kind of their battering ram. And then you have DeAndre Swift, who has a decent amount of power, but he's got a lot of speed and explosion. And they held those guys in check for the most part. I mean, they really shut down Monangai. So it's like, if you could do that to the Bears, Seattle doesn't have the best offensive line. I think it's comparable to the Rams. I think the Bears have a better offensive line when they're fully healthy. And that's where I think you're going to be able to run the football on the Rams side. And I'm not asking Kyron to go for 5.9 yards a carry. That would be nice. That would really set them up. But I think if you get at least 4 yards a carry, you can stick with that run. That you can really, 40 yards in a cloud of dust, you can really stick with that run, and you could really kind of wear out their defense. And then you can hit them where it hurts, because that's the scary thing, Alexis, about playing the Los Angeles Rams that you're not privy to when it comes to Seattle. Sam Darnold's a good quarterback. He's not Matthew Stafford. He's not the MVP of the league. If I'm sitting there running the football, Kyron, down your throat, and you can't stop Kyron, well, now it's going to make the passing game easier for Stafford, who honestly doesn't need it to be easy. He's going to make those tough throws. But if I make the game easy on Stafford and I have you in those zone looks, and, now all of a sudden I have Stafford, I'm manipulating, Ernest Jones completely out of his zone, and I'm hitting Puka Nacua on a crosser and he's going for a touchdown. That's what happens. Now, all of a sudden, how are you stopping that team when you can't stop the run? That's why I think the Rams really do, and I think you nailed it. They have to start this game off by running the football, and it has to be with Kyren Williams. You can hit a home run with Blake Corum. You can. I'm not saying Blake Corum can't work with this offense. He absolutely can. But I'm using Kyren to weaken this defense. I'm trying to wear them down. I think the best way for the Rams to operate, and this is why I'm so against those 3rd and 4th and short bombs that you and I can't stand. The reason being is I think the Rams operate best when they're going to go down with 12 play drives, right? I'm not a fan of the 5 to 7 play drives, explosive drives. I'll take a touchdown however I can get it, but I think the Rams operate best when they're just methodically wearing down a defense. That to me is how I would look at it.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're in agreement there, about the run game, because I've been getting into it with people about that, and Seahawks fans as well, obviously. In my mentions, and saying that, the Rams aren't going to be able to run the ball and begging us to run the ball, right, and all that. But I think they're going to be surprised, because I've seen what we can do against the Seattle defense in the run game, particularly Kyren Williams. So I think it would be smart for the Rams to, we say it all the time, have a consistent run game, right? Not just coming out and running the ball off the bat, but consistently running the ball throughout the game, and allowing, Matthew Stafford to then cook when he needs to. So, if we can do that, and if Matthew Stafford, can lock in ways that we've seen him do with Devontae Adams and Puka Nacua, I think the Rams are in a really good spot offensively. I just think realistically, we're going to need a balanced approach, against the Seattle defense, which is very good. We're giving them their credit there. It's tough. It's not easy to go against this defense. It's not easy to go against them at home. We've done it, well, we're going to have to do it again on the biggest stage so far. So very much looking forward to that. But Jake, now let's look at the Rams defense. You know, as I touched on, earlier in the episode, this defense really came through for us in Chicago, right? It wasn't pretty. They made some great plays, right? Turnovers, interceptions, things like that. But the secondary, as good as they've been, they have their moments, where they give up yards or they're too off in coverage or whatever it is. And obviously, we'd be remiss to not mention that we're going against JSN up in Seattle, who's a very, very good receiver. Has had an incredible season so far. So looking at him and having to kind of go up against him and Shaheed, right, who is electric. I mean, in my opinion, that was the best trade of the NFL season, and the Seahawks made it. You've got Kenneth Walker, then they've got A.J. Barner, who's been pretty good at tight end for them. But, Jake, they've got Sam Darnold. And I think if you're the Rams defense, you are foaming at the mouth because you know what you can do against Sam. You have rattled him every game that you've played against him. He's had a good year, but he's not Matthew Stafford, kind of as you said and alluded to earlier. There are ways that this Rams defense has shaken him that we have not seen a ton of other teams due to Sam Darnold. So this is a really big week, in my opinion, for this pass rush. And particularly, Jake, their left tackle appears to be out for Sunday.
I think he's going to play.
You think he's going to? So
yeah.
I haven't seen it ruled, but to me, and again, I'm just like creeping in the Seahawks Twitter sphere, right? Of like what their people are saying. They're very nervous about the fact that he might not play. So whether he does or doesn't, we'll see. But regardless, my theory remains the same that the Rams pass rush has to apply more pressure than they have in recent weeks. They have to get after Sam Darnold. We know what happens when you pressure Sam Darnold. The Rams know better than anybody. And Jake, I have a feeling that they're going to come in hot on Sunday with the pressure on Sam. So what do you think the defensive game plan is going to be?
Oh, it's going to be, what you would expect. I mean, they're going to stop the run, or they're going to try to. And if they do that, they're going to force Sam Darnold to have to win the game on his own because the offense is good enough to put pressure on you to continue to score. And you're not just going to be able to kick field goals. As we learned, you can't just keep kicking field goals and win the game. They lost the game just kicking field goals the first time, so they're going to have to go down the field and score touchdowns. They've shown they can do that. They did it to win the game in week 16, to be fair. But at the same time, Sam Darnold has a playoff win finally, but it was one where he really didn't have to do much. I mean, you don't want to take away credit, but this is why like QB wins is kind of dumb because, you get a return that pretty much ends the game right away. The 49ers don't have enough juice in the tank to handle a kickoff return touchdown and then go right back on offense and Brock Purdy going against that defense. Like, that needs to be 0-0. That can't be 7-0. You're in a hole. And that's why that game just got out of hand. They couldn't, the pressure was way too much. The Rams have handled their pressure pretty decently, I would say. And the last time the Rams faced Sam Darnold in a playoff game, they pressured him 43 times, which I don't think I've ever seen before. 8 pressures for Byron Young, 7 for Jared Verse, 6 for Fisk, 5 for Michael Hoyt, 5 for Kobe Turner, 3 for Keir Thomas, 2 for Desjuan Johnson, 2 for Roseboom, 2 for Neville Gallimore, a pressure from Akello, a pressure from Lake, and a pressure from Kobe. They had 31 hurries. They had a quarterback hit. They had 9 sacks in that game. I mean, there was a lot going on. So, yeah, the Rams, they're going to know what to do. And Sam Darnold, to be fair to him, he's had a good year, but to be fair to the Rams, while he beat them, they also have 6 interceptions on this player. Like, we're talking about a guy that, this is the second most turnovers in the league for the Seahawks. They have the second most turnovers in the league. This has been my issue. If they handle the giveaways, they don't turn the ball over, I think Seattle could win this game. I really do. I wouldn't be surprised. But I expect the Rams to force a turnover. I really do. and maybe even 2. And Sam Darnold, he threw 2 interceptions, including a big man interception, threw it right to Kobe Turner the last time. But yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the big thing there, is I think you got to force pressure, and nobody is forcing more interceptions from pressure than these 2 in Byron Young and Jared Verse. And so that's kind of my thing right now, is that I just trust these guys when they need to get it on at the right time, and they need to come through. They have. I mean, even the Eagles game, the pass rush was not why they lost that game. They dominated that game pass rush wise. I mean, Jalen Hurts couldn't do anything, so that was a big deal. And yeah, that's just kind of how I look at it. Also, by the way, Mike McDonald's teams, they've allowed an average of 28 points per game against Sean McVay and the Rams in 5 head-to-head meetings. But if you compare that to 31, it was 31 other games against teams that weren't the Rams, that's 18 points per game with Seattle, and 17.1 points per game if you include his final year with the Ravens. So the Rams, and I'm not saying that McDonald can't win, because they already won, and I'm not saying that Seattle should lose credit, but I mean, the Rams do have their number in a sense that they can put up points that other teams just simply have shown they can't. So I think I'm expecting Sean McVay also to really have kind of an edge in this one too, because he was so pissed about the way he called that game. Probably not as much as you and I during the game, but then after, I would say he was probably more pissed at himself. So I think it's going to be wicked close, but I think there's going to be a lot of impactful plays. Kind of like the Bears game. It was 20-17, but there were so many impactful plays in that one. I think this is going to be a really good game, and I'm looking forward to it.
Well, that sets us up perfectly for predictions.
Yeah.
But before we get into our 4 bold predictions, Jake, we do have a word from Sleeper.
We do. So you can get on the action over at Sleeper. Link is in the description below. That is JKB, the code. Get 100% bonus match up to $100 using that code, and also get a $20 free entry, which is no deposit required. And if you have an account and you haven't used the $20 entry, it's likely there for you. So be sure to check that one out. Matthew Stafford, I believe, is the freebie. 0.5 yards. I'd imagine he's going to go over that. So be sure to get in on the action with Sleeper. And now let's get into the bold predictions segment.
Well, before we do this, and we always tease the bold predictions, we got to do our referee fun facts. Jake.
We definitely do. I
didn't want to let everybody down and us forget it. So before we get into our bold predictions, for those of you who are new here, because we've got quite a few people watching us live right now, and maybe we'll have some new people listening later when this drops on audio. Jake and I have started this segment. I don't remember what week we started this, but it kind of started as a joke. It started as a bit, and now we just do it because it's fun and interesting. Is we do a fun fact segment about the referee for the game. So, Jake, do we know who the referee is going to be yet?
We do.
I thought so. Just I doubted myself for a second. So, Jake, let's hear it. What's some fun facts? Give us a backstory on this ref that we're going to see in this NFC Championship game.
You are going to see Clay Martin, who is actually 50 years of age. And this is somebody that was born in Pensacola, Florida. His father was in the U.S. Marine Corps. And he's a former athletic director at a high school. So he's been around it. He attended Oklahoma Baptist University. I feel like we just talked about this guy recently because he actually officiated a game pretty recently for the Rams. So believe it or not, the Rams are 7-0 in Clay Martin officiated games. They're actually 9-1 when Clay Martin is on the field at all as an official. It doesn't mean that he's the head official. Guess who the one loss was to? Take a guess.
Repeat that. I want to see if
The Rams are 9-1 when Clay Martin has officiated games.
was it the Seahawks?
No. Like, he's been on the field. Like, not necessarily the head official. They're 7-0 when he's the head official. 9-1 all time. They only have one loss, and it is to the Washington Redskins when Sean McVay was the offensive coordinator. So Sean McVay is 10-0 with this dude. But yeah, pretty wild. Crazy stuff there. So yeah, that's Clay Martin. I know of a person I graduated with who looks just like him. So yeah,
I don't
shout
even know
out
what
to
he
Dan.
looks like. I don't even know what he looks like. But hey, the more you know, guys, that's about Clay Martin. And you know what? Shout out to you, Clay. I'm glad that, we can give these referees their time to shine.
Yeah. Hey,
And
if the
he
Rams go to
hasn't
the
hurt-
Super Bowl, Clay is very much in my favorite referee list there.
Well, Jake, you and I both think the Rams are going to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to involve some statistics from the game on Sunday. It's going to involve some plays. So, Jake, we're going to give our 4 predictions. Do you want to go first or do you want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first.
All right.
So right away, I'm going to say that Sam Darnold is pressured 25 plus times in this game. And I think that's a very healthy number. I think the average is probably 15. So it would be an above average day at the office. So 15 plus pressures for the Rams defense on Sam Darnold. I'm going to say they force 2 interceptions. I'm going to say they hold Kenneth Walker under 80 yards rushing. And I know it's very defensive heavy, but I didn't want to take all of yours because I don't think that there's going to be tons of offense in this game. So I'm going to say that Devontae Adams is 0-4, I believe, in conference championship games. He doesn't know what it is to play in a Super Bowl, and he lost to the Seahawks in 2014 on a failed, botched Brandon Bostic onside kick. All he had to do was catch it. That's all he had to do. So I think Devontae Adams is going to catch the go-ahead touchdown to win the NFC title game.
I love all of it. Could see
Yep.
all that happening.
It's not very bold. I feel like a lot of that was just like, I don't know. It's hard to be bold because I don't think it's going to be that type of game. But I'm here. I'm interested to, and I don't worry. I was like, I paved the way so you could have your Kyron one. Okay, there you go.
Well, I don't. So here's the thing.
I
was originally going to say like 2 more touchdowns for Kyron Williams because I do think that that's going to happen, but that's not that bold. We just saw that happen. So let me see if I can come up with 4 other ones. So I'll start with the defense. I normally start with the offense. I think that the Rams are going to get 3+ interceptions against Sam Darnold. And I think one of those is going to be a Quentin Lake pick 6.
Ooh.
Because that we haven't seen this season.
Mm-hmm.
And, I feel good. Listen, Sam Darnold turns the ball over a lot against his defense. So I think that's a pretty somewhat, it's not really bold, but whatever. We'll say 3+ interceptions. We just saw it happen against Chicago.
3
guys.
plus?
I think he's going to, yeah, well, what, 3 interceptions? Do you think that's
wow.
that crazy? I don't know.
I
We just
mean,
saw it happen. Did we not just see that
I
happen?
know. It's just, I don't know if I see him throwing 3 plus. But like I said, that's bold.
So we'll say 3+ interceptions. My second defensive prediction is gonna be, I'm gonna say Jared Verse strip sack.
I like that.
Jared Verse,
Yeah.
he plays his best in big moments, and we've seen this before from him. And why am I blanking on the playoff game against Minnesota? Didn't he do that against?
It was actually Akella.
Okay, that's who it was.
And then
but
he
there was a
ran it
strip
back
sack.
and did a giant flip in the end zone. I don't
Well, I
want my
think it's-
defensive players flipping on their head. Maybe it's just me. I know it looks kind of cool and the
I don't
photos
want
are
anybody
dope.
doing it.
I don't. Yeah. Well, I definitely don't because I'm
Yeah.
all about staying healthy at this point.
Yeah, but I think that we're going to see a Jared Verse strip sack against Sam Darnold.
Please.
Offensively, so if I'm not going to do the Kyron ones, I'm going to say Puka Nacua is going to go over 100 yards, which might not sound bold to people, but all that I'm hearing is like the secondary was injured when Puka put 200 yards up, and he's not going to be able to get away with that, and they're going to focus on him. I still think he's going to put up over 100 yards, so that's what I think is going to happen.
I'm tired of hearing the excuses, honestly.
Yeah.
Your defense that is considered the best or the second best in the league gave up almost 600 yards of offense. I know it was a short week, but that has to matter. Like that, we can't just be like, no, it wasn't that big of a deal because like our guys got hurt. It's like, okay, well, this is what I would say. All right, Woolen played 21 snaps. That's fair. Bryant played 25. Okada played 25. But like Devin Witherspoon played the whole game. Julian Love played the whole game. Josh Jobe played the whole game. Nick Imawari played the whole game except for like a few snaps he missed. I mean, come on. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I understand Kobe Bryant's a good player. Tariq Woolen's a good player. Ty Okada's had a good year. But like, it wasn't like, you know, we got to stop acting like their entire secondary just completely dropped dead on the field. You know, like it wasn't like Nacua was just going up against nobodies. And by the way, when Ernest Jones had that zone responsibility, Matthew Stafford looked him off and created that separation like he did in the Super Bowl on the no-look pass with Cooper Kupp. So I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. But I think that Puka Nacua is going to have another big game. And then I've kind of started this tradition of making my fourth the special teams prediction.
Mm-hmm.
But like it would just be so disingenuous for me to like I'm trying to think of like what a fun special teams one would be. Let's say like I'll say blocked kick. I think the Rams are going to block a kick.
Oh, that would be so sick. Give me
I think
that.
that would be really potent.
No,
Let's
you know,
just go with that.
You know, it would be amazing. This is just something I'm just throwing out in the. I'm speaking into existence. Jordan Whittington kickoff return touchdown to start the game. It's the exact opposite of what. If you told me there was a kickoff return touchdown in the Rams Seahawks game and you didn't tell me who it was, I'd immediately, and everyone would assume it was Shaheed. If that ends up being Jordan Whittington, they start the game off like that. You will hear a pin drop.
Yeah.
It is going to be quiet.
Well, I'm going to stay with the blocked kick because I think
that's more realistic.
would be
I would
more
say.
realistic.
Isn't that
for
crazy?
The Rams.
Yeah, the block kick is more realistic than a kick return.
Listen, there's a way to go.
But I would take it.
But we've got some supers. Oh, wait, no, before that, I'm sorry. We didn't even give our score prediction. So we'll give our score prediction and then we'll get into supers. But Jake, you go first.
Well, hopefully my heart can take it. 3 of the 4 matchups against that Matthew Stafford's been in against McDonald. 3 of the 4 have gone to overtime. Don't think this one's going to go to overtime. The last one was a 2-point win. This is going to be even closer. I got the Rams winning by 1 point, 24-23. I don't know if my heart will be able to take it, but if it will, then we'll be on the other side and getting ready for a Super Bowl rematch. The trilogy. We get a trilogy with the Seahawks this year, a trilogy against the Patriots, and I don't think I can take 3 losses in my lifetime to the same damn team with a different quarterback on top of that.
Well, Jake, we have been very in sync with our score predictions as of late because I have 24-21 Rams. And I think it's going to be very close as well.
I would like yours more overtime. Because I get to sit there and I'm like, all right, well, at least like if they kick a field goal, it's like going to tie it up. See, like 24-23, and they have the ball, they just have to get in a field goal range with the best kicker in the league. I don't really think my heart can take that. I just don't.
I mean, I think that regardless of, I just think this game, regardless of who wins, is going to be that type of game. I mean, it's going to be nerve-wracking. It's going to be close. It's going to be like the Chicago game, which was, as a man, I would love to have been a non-biased party watching that, because what a great game to watch.
That was a great game.
But it just a classic game that we're going to talk about for a long time, right?
I thought it was much better than the Bills and Broncos game, because that was just sloppy football. Just because it had more points and it was close at the end and all that doesn't mean it was a good game. I didn't like the game at all, actually. I really didn't. I thought it was very sloppy. And again, like, we got to stop with the whole, oh, this has been a great defensive battle if it's 3-0 and like the offenses just suck. You know, good defense and you know bad offense. Like, right? Like, but like 20-17, it was just it was just all hands on deck. Going to take all 48, and that's the type of game I want to watch in the postseason.
Well, Jake, we got some supers, so let's get into those.
Yeah, we'll get out of here after the supers. HAV, thank you for the 10. If everyone does their job, especially McVay, I can't see this team losing. Let's get the job done, Rams house. I agree completely.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not about to do hashtag do your job like the Patriots did. That was obnoxious, but yeah. Vic, thank you for the 2. Are you worried about Lake not practicing? It sounds like it's an illness. I'm not worried at all.
I'm not worried. My thing isn't so much about Lake. My mind goes to like, oh my God, I hope it's not something contagious.
Oh, yeah.
That's more my thing of like, where he'll probably be fine because it's like Wednesday and like he'll recover. But I'm like, please tell me he didn't breathe in the locker room on people. But it doesn't sound like it's a big deal, so I'm not worried as of yet.
SoCal Ram 88, thank you for the 5. McVay cannot abandon the run, stretch the sides, get those dudes tired in the middle. Also, McVay has to call a better game. Let's go Rams. I totally agree. And the thing about Corum and why I think I just lean on Kyron in this game until I know I can hit the home run or hit the explosives with Corum. This is such a fast defense. Like, you're not going to get to the edges the way that you might against other teams. Like, they're just too good at that. We saw when they tried to use Corum in week 16. It wasn't there. Run in between the guards. Let, Kyron just, like, the duo runs that they run where you get the double teams up front. That's what you got to do. Run duo consistently. And I think Kyron's going to have success with running duo and then running, with the 13 personnel as well. I think they're going to have success. I really do. Zaylor Swift, thank you for the 5. Rams D have got to be physical. Tackling, hard hits, team rallies. Dalton hates pressures. K9 is a smaller back. Cup hates getting gritty. Force him. I don't know about that. Cup's a very gritty player, but I appreciate you, Zaylor Swift. And again, love the everything, honestly.
Thank you.
Mumfield screen for a touchdown.
That'd be fun.
As long as he scores, I'm okay. Deb, thank you for the 20. You know me, I'm scared of every game. It's going to take all 3 phases of this team, I think. Anyway, I am not ready for it to be over, so please, McVay. Anyway, thanks for everything, Jake and Alexis. You're very welcome, Deb. Thank you.
Well,
really appreciate that.
And yeah, all 3 phases. You got to play a consistent game.
That's another thing. That special teams, it's getting hot at the right time.
Yep.
It's almost like, should I say it? Yeah, I should. Ben Kotwicka should have been the special teams coordinator to start the year.
It's not controversial.
No, it's not. Temple Hills Funk, thank you for the 2. Unfortunately, since StreamYard still, it's 2026 and we still don't have any support for super stickers, it just says super sticker. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Chris Zeffro, thank you for the 20. Alexis, sorry we didn't get a chance to see Niners Rams together at SoFi in the playoffs. Next year, I'll take you and Jake to the game at Santa Clara. Yes, Jake, we'll sit opposite of the sun. Go Rams. Thank you, Chris.
Thank you.
He's talking about week 10. We were getting baked in the sun. They do that on purpose because the sun is pointed to the road team. That's just the way it is. So, like, I didn't realize that in Santa Clara. Like, that is a legit home field advantage. Didn't matter, though.
No, it is. I mean, hey, props to them. But, But thank you for the super, and that would be really fun.
Absolutely. I'm definitely down. Zaylor, thank you for the 5. Do not let Cup get going. No cute stuff. No cute 8-yard shuck jive BS. He did with us. If you break him, you break their offense. No cute yards, Cup. Really? I think there's JSN who almost set the record for yards. I'm a little more worried about him, but I mean, I like Cooper Kupp a lot, and he's still a good player.
Yeah.
But they don't really utilize him that often. Julian, thank you for the 5. Oh my God, Jake, you read my mind, Jake. LOL. I was thinking Whittington kickoff return to start the game. Thanks for the great content, both of you. LFG Rams. I'm hoping so.
Thank you.
That will make me feel calm, and like if they start off with that, especially because like deferring. I don't know if you've noticed. No one's pointed this out. Sean McVay doesn't do anything with their offensive possession in the second half, like ever. They always 3 and out. It's the most frustrating thing ever.
And they pass it 3 plays. Like we all sit there and we're like, it's always the same thing. It's like, oh my God, Kyron's averaging 5.9 yards
every
carry.
freaking.
I'd start the second half and run the ball, and he goes out and throws 3 passes, and they go 3 and out every single time. So like at this point, I'm like, maybe just take the ball to start the game. I don't know.
Yeah, I would. Well, what's the quickest way to put pressure on Sam Darnold without actually pressuring Sam Darnold? It's to score.
Yeah.
And the Rams, that first drive against the Bears, I mean, that was sensational. I love that drive so much. Chef kiss, no idea where that went because they didn't call the game the rest of the way that way. I don't know. But Eric Flynn, thank you for the 2.
Thank you.
Just showing some love. Appreciate you. Matt the Man, thank you for the 5.
Thank you.
I'm glad to know I was wrong about the Rams because I thought we were toast. I'm sorry. I swear I love this team. Also, FWA called Stafford for MVP. Yeah, so Pro Football Writers of America voted for Matthew Stafford as the MVP. The best quarterback award in the voting that I was voting in, the Athletes One Awards, he also won MVP for that. But it's going to be different like for the AP. So like that's the thing. Associated Press is the one that decides who wins the actual award. Because just because you're the Pro Football Writers of America MVP doesn't mean you're going to end up with that. And so I do think Stafford wins it. I like feel confident in that, but it's not a guarantee. Aaron, thank you for the 5. Say it with me, guys. Sam Darnold. He's not beating us twice. Where did this come from? He's on our team, Garoppolo. Oh, man.
Sam Darnold, Sam Darnold, don't matter. They're not beating us.
Eric Flynn's coming in with the 10. Cam Curl's...
Thank you.
I can't even talk. Cam Curl's Arena Gridiron interview. Why was that a mouthful? I don't know. It was, though. Gave me confidence they are going to get after Darnold. No Charbonnet is going to be difficult. I do have to say, and I sound ridiculous, I feel like I'm talking out both sides of my mouth. Oh, yeah, Zach Charbonnet is nowhere near as good as Kenneth Walker. They just need to run with Kenneth Walker. And now I'm like, well, they're going to miss Zach Charbonnet. But I thought about it in a different lens. Like, it makes your rushing attack one-dimensional. Like, it's exactly like I said. Do you really think the Rams have the same rushing success rate if it's just Blake Corum? I don't. And I don't think it's going to be the same for Kenneth Walker. Now, if he comes out and he's able to run the football, Rams are going to have to adjust. And if they can't adjust, then they're just going to have to score more points. Like, they're just going to have to keep scoring because that's going to be a scary thing if Seattle is able to establish the run and Kenneth Walker just goes off like he did against the 49ers. It's going to keep Sam Darnold out of harm's way. And it's going to make the margin for error for the Rams really thin because you're not stealing possessions if Sam Darnold isn't throwing the football. So, yeah. Good catch there. Corey, thank you for the 5.
Thank you.
Do you think we rest? Do you think rest plays a role in this game? LA had 2 hard-fought road games while Seattle coasted at home and an extra day of rest. I think rest is overblown. I think this late in the year, everybody's kind of banged up. Everybody's kind of feeling it. It's why I said the other day, you can have the best offensive line in the league. They're still going to give up pressure. It's why people are like, how are the Bears getting pressure against this Rams offensive line? Because it's week 19. Like, it's the 19th game of the year. Like, this is what happens. Like offensive lines wear down. I think the defense has the advantage, especially the pass rushers. That's how I feel. So
I also feel like people are overblowing a little bit, and I'm not saying that Corey's doing this at all.
yeah,
But this has just made me think of this, is people are overblowing that the Seahawks blew out the 49ers. I think people were like giving the 49ers a lot more credit than they should have personally.
that's fair.
The Seahawks didn't go in and blow out a team like, I don't know. I'm not going to use the Rams as an example, but think of like the Patriots or the Texans, or Texans bad example after what they ended up doing. But you know what I mean? Like they didn't go in and blow out a team that was shocking. So I think that everybody is like, oh, well, they did that because they were rested and whatever. I'm like, I don't really think that's what happened at all. They just are a significantly better team than San Francisco, in my opinion.
I'll be honest, the game was over after the return. I think the return sucked every single piece of energy out of the 49ers. And also, I think Brock Purdy ran for 600 yards behind the line of scrimmage. I've never seen anybody run for their life like Brock Purdy did in that game. And they're just too banged up. And it is what it is. It's why I think Kyle Shanahan was the coach of the year. He got them to that point. They were so injured. I don't think Sean McVay, I don't think Mike McDonald, and the Cardinals don't even have a head coach. So definitely not them. I don't think Sean McVay or Mike McDonald would have been able to replicate Kyle Shanahan. And to be fair, am I saying Kyle Shanahan's a better coach? No, he's probably more experienced at having more injuries because for whatever reason they always get hurt. I guess we'll just blame the substation for that. This is so ridiculous. Anyway, JBC, thank you for the 10. Jake, the Rams will win decisively. They are 3-2 at Lumen since 2021. The wins by an average of 11 points. The losses by 2 points. McVay gets them prepped for the noise. Plus, they have a huge chip on their shoulder. JBC, I hope you're right.
Yep.
I would love to see a 10-point win. If that happens, we are literally looking at the exact same path that the Buccaneers took when they won the Super Bowl in 2020. They beat the Saints by 10. They played the 1, they played the 2, and they played the 4 seed. They were the 5 seed. They played on the road all the way, and then they played at home in the final game. And say what you will, like the Rams aren't playing at home at Levi Stadium, but they would be playing in their home state. So it would be a lot easier. Travel would be nothing. Not that travel would really be a big deal anyway. You get 2 weeks, but... And the last time the Rams were at Levi Stadium, they put up 42 points. The last time Seattle was there, they put up 13. So they found a way to win, but they only put up 13 points. Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd be like that. All right. Well, that's going to do it. We appreciate you guys tuning in as always. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment, check us out on all audio platforms as well, because we do post on audio still in case people don't know. Alexis, you have the floor.
We're on social media. If you guys can follow us at Downtown Rams, we'd appreciate it. You can follow me on Twitter /X at the Alexis Craft. You can follow Jake at JK Bogan. We are both also on Instagram. Jake is at JK Bogan. I am at Alexis Craft. And guys, we will be back Monday night to recap the NFC Championship game against the Seattle Seahawks. But guys, until then, as always, stay safe, take care, and go Rams.